Clementine also not bad on the projectile side of things either. And look, you're in the final series of the season. You're not going to go anywhere else. This is where you try things out, because why not?
Give some players some play time, see who you might want to keep, who you might want to drop. It's just how it's going to work for both these squads, where they are not playing for anything other than pride, other than results, other than potential scouting later in the future. As Meta Athena, they are going to be playing this Reaper May, the comp that we're seeing a lot right now in the Overwatch League and also in the playoffs for other reasons.
They're just rushing on down. This is highly aggressive from Athena. They take down Enocast, and even though they get struck with a pretty good bio nade, it's decisive. They're in an area where the fall through isn't necessarily there. And Meta Athena starting out on a real good note. Damon now room to work with here on the Reaper as WGS is just scrambling over themselves to try and get back in, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Will also manage to retain that mech there, and really WGS should not be able to lose Enocast that early to a rush like this. You're running a D.Va, you're running a Mei, you have a Batiste, you have a lot of options to keep Enocast alive there, and somehow none of those cooldowns were used. Nothing was really used to peel for Enocast. He gets run over, he gets flattened like a pancake. As already Meta Athena leaving one to cap and chasing here into the streets, just getting these stagger kills.
And the strategy was quite simple. Run at them, forehead. And basically what we saw, and okay, Meta Athena, they're still running at him. They're getting stagger after stagger deep into the heart of WGS. This is just going to give them plenty of space for free. In fact, the staggers were so delayed that they're going to get through this choke point, which oftentimes you can be held at without having to take any real fight whatsoever.
And a particularly brutal checkpoint now that Mei and Orisa have become a lot more central to the compositions, especially as we move beyond, and even Batiste because of the Amp Matrix, because of the Mortality Field. And Meta Athena, they made their way through it. They've swapped Inyok onto the Orisa now. It is pretty equal though on the ult banks. So gonna be a big ult fight here for both these squads.
Dragon Strike gonna be eaten. Agni's not having anything go right as you see Damon into the back. Death Blossom with 2. David gives up his life for it, but this is looking very, very well worth for Meta Athena. The trades in their favor. Teru just walking forward, freezing mechs left, right, and center. And this is going to be a very, very quick take of point B.
And this was brutal. Absolutely brutal engage from Meta Athena. Not only are they getting blown through second and a blazingly fast time here, WGS used ults. Their Dragon got eaten, they committed Blizzard, they committed Bomb, they got nothing from any of them. And Teru managed to still hold on to Blizzard in that fight. They just walk forward, they isolate Gableshi pretty early, they set up Damon there with the Death Blossom, they forced the Immortality from Overwatch. It was just really
over
perfect.
5 minutes left here. This would be one of the quickest times we've seen on Kings Row, really in competitive Overwatch. This is a full speed run if they get the next fight. That Supercharger, that was popped way too early from WGS, far in advance, and that could come back to haunt them.
I think WGS and Enocast in particular was really banking on Meta Athena continuing to take the fight. But they just say, why would we take this fight with Superchargers out? We can just LOS it, we can hide, and come back in after it's gone.
They're just like, we're disrupting the speed run. They have to get off the payload for a moment. It's like, all right, well, you still might be losing the map here. Holding on, waiting out the defensive matrix. And did the Blizzard go off?
The Blizzard got eaten, or not eaten, but it's gone. It's gone.
He died. Mid-Blizzard, that's why it didn't go out. So the timing right there denies, but oh, the bomb to the back. Enocast caught. Meta Athena still keeping up the pressure. A flanking Dragon Strike from Agnes does not work out. Slowed down by the Moira. And even with the Blizzard gone, a pure gift to just, well, hang on. Ace gets 2. Immortality Field made that possible. Gave Ace time for the freeze, and Ace brings it back from the brink.
Ace being a monster there, getting that pocket from Oporochi, guaranteed it. And yes, most important there for Meta Athena is that their engage was still fantastic. They try to get the isolation, they try to force the Immortality Field and the Fortify very early for WGS, but then Teru dies while trying to throw that Blizzard. They lose that Blizzard. Their strategy, their engagement was sort of then halted in its tracks, and Ace comes back out and gets those frags supported by Oporochi. So Meta's gonna have to repush here again.
Teru waited a long time before throwing out the Blizzard, but he did that because the Matrix is a threat. And then it's like, all right, the Matrix is out, time to go. Well, Arrow is the head on the outside. Meanwhile, Ace, Blizzard, eat it! Jubil devours it! It's been a bad time for a cold front, I'll tell you that much. As Meta Athena going to the back. Damon, oh no, 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 WGS, you're not on the payload. I can't take this many C9s in one day. I can't.
Not again, not again.
I can't, just please, remember the objective. I'm phase 2'd out, phase 9.
We've moved into various different phases here of C90, and For WGS, I mean, it was really a task for them to actually touch the payload at all, considering they lost those early picks. Then Athena moves to the backline, they put Damon back there, and even though he goes down early, he forces WGS to turn around. But all of it was off the back of that eat from Shubil there on the Ace's Blizzard, denying that such a portal. And then Damon, you see him pop that Death Blossom. He forces WGS to turn around, shift their attention to them. And when that's happening, they don't touch point.
So Athena, they don't set a speed record, but they still set a very, very quick time. This is WGS having their work cut out for them, where even though really it doesn't quite matter either way for the teams, we're going to stick with tradition and mention that in terms of the overall series, WGS, they need to finish the time left on the clock. Otherwise, series is over. No matter what, there will be no map 5 because it would be a draw and Athena would be guaranteed the series. So not only do they have to move quickly, but again, they have to be at least 1 second left on the clock.
Tough task for WGS, who is so far, after we move past control, not finding a lot of success. Looked like they had maybe stalled that defense there at the end of King's Row, but Athena is still finding the openings, outplaying them at every turn. WGS, if they want to win this series, if they want to get 1 win on the board for Contenders Korea this season, they need to turn it around here on King's Row.
Agnes looking to shoot through the Mondata statue. There's 1 pixel shots that you can look for. And for WGS, they should not be going for long rotations here. They need to bring this into the point. Alt does a bit of damage. Agnes on the prowl. Moving in from the flank. This is where you hope that the Hanzo can do good damage while the rest of your team acts as your front line. Immortality field going to be down on both sides. Both teams feeling pretty mortal.
But the Mays from both sides in particular doing great at breaking this halt hook. It's so important when you look at high-level May gameplay right now in these sort of setups is breaking that combo.
Damon, though, strikes. Agnes falling on the other side. And Athena, they might not get the speedrun overall on King's Row's map, but they're still going for a speedrun on the series, and one way of doing that, first point hold.
Damon choosing not to chase, but even though having aces going down. And Athena, they've played slow enough now that they're going to have both their Amp Matrix early and the Nano Boost. They're going to have both those ults. It's sort of the value that you talked about where they didn't want WGS to go for long rotations, that when they're playing Xin, they can break shield very quickly. They can take these fights extremely aggressively before Nano Boost is going to be up for half, deny a lot of that value that Ana brings, but because they've had such long fights, half's already going to have that ult.
We see a Sonic Arrow out here from Agnes, rotating around the flank once more. Ace has built up Blizzard, and I think the goal here, I mean, it's one of 2 things. Either Agnes gets an early flank kill, or more likely, get Blizzard and then go for the follow-through. They drop the Amp Matrix, but they also drop a wall of their own making on top of it that can't be intentional. Blizzard gonna be thrown out here, looking for Shubil. Shubil, alive from the Immortality Matrix, but not for much longer. Taken on down. So Athena down 2. Agnes on the flank finally hits pay dirt. W just slowly but surely starting to rotate their way on in.
Now with that Dragon Strike though named, Inyok gonna be split, gonna be killed. And WGS finding some success here on this push. So important there when Gable, she finds the hook onto Shubil on the flank, brings him in there, gets the opening pick off. And when the Hog is down from this, they lose a lot of pick potential because there's no pressure from shield anymore. There's no halt hook combo. There's no flanking hooks. So very good opening there for Gable. WGS moving forward here. Not having Athena also because they get staggered. Don't get the fight here at the crucial choke once again. Gonna make some swaps, so put Damon on the Reaper. Get half back up to the Moirai named Lucio. So they're gonna take this fight and take it very aggressively.
There's also very little that can be done about the May here, where if they get caught even a little bit, the Blizzard's coming on in, they have to worry about being Ian. Blizzard tossed on out and fall through, moving in. And that's just a good engage from Athena, where you know your conditions, and you Blizzard, you run at them, and that's all they need to do.
And WGS, I think, kind of outplayed themselves, where they just didn't use any ults. There's no anti on the field anymore for Athena since they don't have the Ana. If no one popped Trance there, they probably lived through that. They probably stay alive. They probably could still continue that fight, but they didn't invest any ults. Now, the good news is that since they didn't invest the ults there, they can invest the ults in the next fight. They can be extremely aggressive. They can just take this fight very aggressively. Get a Discord, look to go in. They're going to have their Blizzard, they're going to have their Dragon Strike, and there's no Immortality field on the field for Athena, or even a beat.
I think the next fight here is going to be remarkably difficult for Athena to win, and not only that, well, okay, not only that happened, Shubil able to deal with Agnes' flank, takes him on down as Hog, and they invest Blizzard in a really odd spot. Athena just walks away. This is a pure disaster right now for WGS. They get the reset, it might work out, but no, they just let Inhyuk run away. The cover is gonna be there. Teru gives his life to a degree. Shubil was still in the flank and gets caught, so it was working out really well for Athena, but the finish, not as much.
Shubil's going a bit deep. I mean, it's one thing if Teru gets caught there, but Shubil going a little bit too deep, going to come out on the Diva now. WGS are moving the cart forward still here. Yet again, they still have the trance. They still have the Dragon Strike as Damon. They're looking to isolate. They don't want to get out.
Walled. Damon, nowhere to go. And you know what Shubil just reminded me of? Shubil won Classic Harb. The Harb's 800 miles behind our team, and I don't know why play.
A little bit of delay coming out for Teru there in the end, but that is going to be second. Going the way of WGS. And Athena, I mean, they played that extremely well. They were playing around WGS's advantages, denying a lot of the value they were getting, but lost themselves that point in the end by just going too deep, losing people early.
Upside for Athena, they're guaranteed to have a quicker time, but for WGS, you can lose the next fight, which they probably will, to the Blizzard, and still be in a really good spot for the fight coming after. Try and wall off to start things out here. It's a heavy dive in from Athena as their close game Blizzard, but more importantly, they get Gable-C early named, able to boop him into the pit. They get to save the Blizzard as a result, and this is a lot more grim for WGS.
Great move there for named work. And Athena also are clearly understanding their win conditions versus WGS, where they know they can't trade poke. They know they can't sit here and take damage when the Xin and the Batiste are on the field along with the Hanzo. They're just going to auto lose the shield war. They don't have the sustain they need for a long extended fight. So it's much better to take these fights as aggressively as possible, put Damon and Teru in a position to succeed. And that is what they've been doing. They're holding close. You're going to see that early supercharger for InnoCast, hoping to find anyone, force some cooldowns for Athena.
And again, Athena's going to play the waiting game. The wall is stronger than the supercharger. And now they're going to counter-engage and move back in with Blizzard of their own. Counter Blizzard in from Ace. It's awfully chilly here at the point. Teru falling. Just getting thrown into the pit. InnoCast. Solid play coming out there as WGS. They endure. Athena, their defense going to be pushed back. And now they get really one more opportunity to defend and try to drain the clock to 0.
And Athena were hoping to set up Damon there, but he just could not find any value. The trance comes out, they force it, but then he just dropped the Death Blossom right into the shield and the Immortality Cone. You see, Stagger's coming out. Teru, he's trying to live. He will live, but with the Ant Major out for Overwatch, can they find anyone? They will.
Halt hook after halt hook. The momentum starting to build here for WGS. Let's keep moving forward. One more halt, moving on in. Damon taking on down. Shubil though. Bomb to the back, giving a little bit of breather here from Athena. Still might be winnable. As WGS got a little bit weak. Drop the dragon mid on through, and again, Athena just able to walk away from it half, enduring the poke damage coming on in, and Athena, they're back to full strength.
I have to say, Inyok's play on the ball was incredible right there. He moves to the backline and bounces InnoCast above the shield for the bomb for Shubil. And that keeps Athena in the fight. They're going to have Coalescence. They are going to have Blizzard very soon, but since WGS have both the take ults and have a Blizzard of their own, their bank is pretty stacked here. This is their fight to win.
Supercharger starting the fight for WGS. Blizzard over and in for Ace. This time, they get at least one frozen Blizzard, but the Coalescence keeping up all the while. It's Coalescence for Blizzard and actually works out for Athena. Inhyuk though, a little bit deep, picked on out. WGS gaining in momentum, kept alive by the Immortality Field in the back, and Athena, they're incredibly low. They're down 2 players, but now just about stall Avast. 33 seconds. Can they stall for 30? I don't think this is the 30-second stall, but they're gonna try.
See Inyok just floating around. Damon, he drops the Death Blossom in the back, but gets frozen out of it. Gets cleaned up there. And Athena, they've gone full stall here. Their hopes rest with Shubil.
And no, they don't get the full stall. We go extra rounds.
Are going to the extra round, so WGS getting to push it to the end, but a much slower time. A much slower time than what Athena did. Still looking pretty good here for Athena in this map, considering they have now over 4 minutes in the bank. See now from the previous push, this is where just Ace freezes a lot of people, gets the zone after Agnes already killed named. And it's just the power of Trance, too, is that when WGS are playing the Xin Batiste, and there's no on the field from Athena, Trance gives you a lot. It gives you a lot. And if you're not constantly getting the zone onto the backline, the Batiste, if they're appealing correctly to that background, the Immortality Field and all that heals that he brings, this sort of comp is extremely powerful versus the Reaper May.
So, going to be going into extra rounds. So the upside for WGS is that They're not dead yet and winning the series, but they might be on life support here. Only a minute left to go. Athena working with a substantially stronger time. And for WGS, this puts immense pressure on their first attack here, where they might get a second attack if they're quick, but no more than that. They need to be successful early in order to just chip away at the time bank advantage Athena has.
And considering that they're not playing Lucio, it's going to be very slow fights, generally, unless they lose someone early on the entry with a pick, since Athena are also going to be playing a Batiste comp their own with Damon on the Hanzo. So a lot of pick potential for both these squads. But they should know that seeing this, they need to play fast, not only just for their time, but because they're on the Zen, they don't have to build up towards that early nano.
Hauled hook, that's a good start. Athena losing Batiste early, not going to have the immortality field in reserve. And now you have to expect WGS is just going to move directly over and into the point, trying to secure the advantage. Damon's down, and Athena folding one by one. WGS was going to make a fantastic comeback. This is the way it had to start.
Terror, though, getting caught late as well. So this is WGS finding the first point, denying any sort of recontestability from Athena. They're going to hope to hold closer. They're going to hope to hold early on this Shoku, though Terror is going to get the back spawn. And we're going into OT already. WGS takes the time in OT. They take that minute to get first. And this is really good for WGS because look at the comp that WGS is running with the Zen Batiste, and they're running into Lucio, Ana. And Half is really not that close to the Ana boost at all. They're not close to that nano boost. This is much favored over WGS.
Look at all these swaps that are going on here. There's a bit of hero chess for Athena.
And look at all the card time they're doing while they're playing hero chess. They're losing so much card time.
It comes at a real penalty where, all right, you've gotten to choose what you think is going to be the best counter comp in one fight to win. But you've essentially given up a fight's worth of progress as a result. Now they dive on in. They better hope that this one works out well. They get the early freeze onto Roadhog. Immortality field, they try and lift him up and over out of it. But instead, they lose two immediately. Athena, this is not what they wanted. The dragon right down the middle. And WGS going to keep this going.
WGS not only keeping it going, but only having to invest the Dragon Strike. And when you look at the ult bank for WGS, they're going to have Trance, they're going to have Ant Matrix, they're going to have the Blizzard. These ults are so important for the following fight because Athena still don't have a single support ult to counter all the damage that's going to be coming in for both the Ant Matrix and the Supercharger. And then afterwards, if any of their cooldowns are forced, Ace is going to be perfectly set to use the Blizzard.
Don't forget, too, this is overtime spawns where there is kind of an advantage here at this point where you win one fight. It takes a lot longer for the defense to come back in. You just get two fights for the price of one, essentially. But now Athena, they're back into the point. Supercharger Mignac likely about to come down soon. He drops it, but it's after Damon's already down. They're missing a huge chunk of damage courtesy of Agnes on the other side. Speaking of WGS, they have a Supercharger down on their own. They're getting a little bit chilly on the points. However, Blizzard from Teru making a lot of space for Athena, trying to pull it on back. Self-destruct should be big, takes down two. The push ends right there. And yet, that's a pretty decent turn of events. This is defensible for WGS.
It is not only defensible, it's winnable. It's a little of both here because that's a pretty far cap time. They didn't get second fully, but they brought it to the point where you might as well have capped second because it's so far in to that actual run for Streets phase. Now, I have to give a lot of credit to Athena in terms of how they approached that recontest there. They not only had Damon be able to touch, but they survived. They dodged around the Ant Matrix. They put Inyok actually to the flank. And you might question, well, what's the validity of having your risk of flank there? And it's really just he's playing the off angle where his Supercharger is a lot harder to be stopped. It makes sure that he's in a position where it's going to get a lot more value. They come in, they remove Immortality Field, they remove a lot of the cooldowns, and then they set up their Blizzard to allow that eventual bomb for Shubil.
All right, chat, you heard Avast right there. He just created a thesis in defense of the flanking Orisa. Can we just clip that and send that to Evil Toaster?
This is a very, very specific instance. I'm not saying flank Orisa is good, but this is a very specific instance where if you want to guarantee that you can touch and your Supercharger will survive the fight, I would say yes, that's fine. And then Inyok also does not remain in the corner. He then moves back to his team after the Supercharger is used. So, very specific instance.
That's all fine and good, but just clip it all out of context and send to Evil Toaster anyways. That's what we need here. Ignore the explanation afterwards. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter a bit.
They're just going to be playing a very similar composition that we saw Athena play on the defense, where they're playing this Ana Batiste. They want to play slow.
And Athena, they actually decide we're just going to roll it immediately. Take it over to the point. Not wasting any time at all. Young moving into the side. Off here, Orisa versus Orisa, close quarters, good healing on the Inhyuk all the while. Teru fighting down Ace. Meta Athena, it's a lightning fast offense here again. They lose Teru, this is still okay. 5-on-5, more people here on the point. Agnes gonna need to do a little bit more. Find the shots on the Orisa, really early Dragon Strike built, Immortality Field keeping the rest alive. Dragon gonna eat well, Orisa out of the fight early. Agnes continuing to bring WGS back.
I have to say the tank there as well as the Inocast. He played the shield dance perfectly. It is the dance of Orisa's people, of all Orisa mains everywhere. Because you just dance around a shield, hoping no one's going to get rid of you. And a very, very good play there for Inocast, getting the tank. Agnes getting the key pickups there. And though Meta Athena, they clearly recognize how they want to play this. They want to play fast versus the Ana before she can get nano boost, before she can find any of that cooldown presence. And they know they can because of the Moira. They just could not clean up the kills fast enough.
Agnes. Up, just top of the ice wall. Looking for the D on the other side. Loses the angle, has to flip on over. Meanwhile, again, Meta Athena really focusing the payload. Supercharger, though, down and a nano boost. That is one tough Orisa. Xenocast trying to make something happen from it. Doesn't quite get the value looking for. Meanwhile, Damon, Death Blossom up, immediately pops it under pressure, stunned and down. WGS, not a care in the world. And Meta Athena, they started with over 4 minutes here at Avast, and they're down to 2.
Meta Athena have not been able to break this hold. They have not been able to actually pick off the targets they want. They're so busy running into the front line that they're completely ignoring this back line. They aren't denied Orochi or Noah or even Agnes any of the value they're getting here. Agnes is just popping off on the Hanzo. And Meta Athena do a much better job here that if they're going to play this Moira comp where they can get in aggressively and fast, they somehow need to zone the back line because they are so free here.
Ball coming out early, Teru under pressure, needs to live long enough to get the Blizzard out. Blizzard, long gonna move on to the point. Now it's getting pretty cold here for Inocast on the side, but not before Teru falls, so it is a trade-out, still winnable for WGS. Agnes, again, could be the X-Factor, looking for the Diva. Lands Sonic Arrow directly on in, prevents the D-Mech! But is it gonna be enough?
It's Agnes and Noah versus named Can He Escape? He can't win, and he does not escape. He does neither. So despite the big blockers reveal, they invested all these ults, but they need slightly better spawns here for Meta Athena. And by slightly, I mean a lot. They've already picked up Agnes.
Agnes is just like, it's not fair! We won the fight in full! And then we just goes, or Meta Athena says, yeah, but our spawn's right there.
WGS have to be extremely happy with that, though. They have to be so happy with that. They took over 3 minutes off the clock. That's huge.
It's a big deal. However, this is where Meta Athena, they had buffer. Because they had such a good time, they exchanged some of the cash that they built up on their first attack, and they get to use it here. That's still very winnable for them here, but really just 2 fights away.
Early supercharger used for Inocast. You see Meta Athena just looking to dodge it. They're going to get antied, but they're still in a pretty good position. They can use the wall to keep themselves alive to deny a lot of this damage. Now they're going to engage with Pollitt. Can they find the backline? Can they isolate anyone here?
Lessons out, but the Dragon back the other way. Going to be making some space for WGS. Alt, Eden, Ace, very close to a Blizzard, and the Blizzard dangerous, but Agnes is down! Agnes has been such a hard carry for WGS on this defense out of the fight, and now it's gonna have to be Ace's start, moves on forward, looking to last a little bit of damage to blow up Blizzard mid-fight. The Blizzard is here! And Ace just waiting. The bomb set up by the Halt, Inhyuk down, and now Ace drops one. See the Blizzard Eden, Shabil right on over it! And that was gonna be their final card to play. But Meta Athena keeping up the pressure. Teru is up falling. Not gonna have a Blizzard of his own. He was really close. WGS starting to fight him on back.
And the bomb not finding anyone. It lands on the roof. It doesn't land where they want it to. And WGS, they're gonna be winning the fight. And Meta Athena, the strategy of just running forward. Sure, we've talked about how this May Reaper, it sort of acts like a new GOATS in a lot of ways. The wing conditions are the same. But if you just stop, if you never deny the value the backline is getting, especially the immortality fields from Orochi, they're not forcing them early and then looking for the engage. They're just running wholesale and letting Orochi's immortality field blunt the tip of the spear that is the Meta Athena comp.
And the biggest part here, when we're looking at this final play, as it sets up here, the fact that Teru ends up getting picked off so close to Blizzard. Shabil made a fantastic play, eating the Blizzard of his own, but Teru just ends up in a rough spot, finished off by Gableshee, and that was it. Blizzard didn't come out from Meta Athena. They weren't able to turn the fight. Ace continued doing heavy work despite the Blizzard being gone. And you rewind just a little bit more. Agnes, heroic efforts to keep WGS in it. So it might be both teams playing for pride here, but WGS at a minimum tells themselves we're not going to be swept on our final match. Can they do more? Can they bring it to a map 5 and end a reverse sweep for themselves? Hang on tight. We'll be back soon. It's a final hurrah here for Athena and WGS, but we're still getting a show put on, especially during Kings Row, where WGS, big performances, especially from Agnes and Ace, able to keep them in it as we go into a map 4, keeping it interesting until the end.
I mean, it's still pride on the line here. No, that's right. No one wants to be swept in their final match of the season, so WGS clearly putting up a fight here. They also seem to be, honestly, when we look at Kings Row, in this current meta, since they're playing the comps that are like that are going to be played in the playoffs, I have a sort of a greater understanding of those comps right now, at least, than what Athena is doing. Because Athena, they're playing what is meta, they're playing what is the most useful overall ubiquitous composition with that May Reaper, but they're just charging full sail ahead. They're just sort of doing what teams used to do in 3-3, where they just thought like the whole comp is plow forward, don't stop, and just hopefully flatten someone. And that works against teams that don't really have a good grasp of it. But WGS, they're just saving their cooldowns. They're saving their cooldowns for that push every single time.
Well, also, I mean, it did work on their first attack, where you rewind history a little bit to what Athena did. They speed ran their first attack with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. They had 4 minutes left to do that attack, and it just, nothing worked in their favor. So really just, we didn't really touch on as much as we should have, but good adaptations from WGS to turn from basically speed run into very convincing hold.
So Dorado is going to be our 4th and potentially final map. It does depend on if WGS picks it up here. They'd have a good performance on Kings Row. Athena looking to close it out, looking to pick up another win to end their season. Or else we're really going to map 5. And we might see very much many of the same comps that we saw on Kings Row. We could see a lot of May Reaper, could see Hanzo, maybe Double Sniper. I think Hanzo in particular, you could never go wrong right now with picking Hanzo. If you pick Hanzo and I see it on your team, I'm like, this is a good hero. In my opinion, is the most overall, currently the strongest overall DPS pick. He can get picks, he can trade shield, he can burn health, you can use Dragon to halt, to use all sorts of ults. He's just so good. He's so mobile. He's just really the perfect DPS hero right now.
Yeah, he's also good at all ranges, right? Unlike a Widow, where Widow gets a little bit uncomfortable at close range. Like, sure, you can land crazy flick shots, but are you going to do it regularly? Probably not. Hanzo, I mean, there's really no particular weakness where you go and Hanzo's like, it's not great. Where his biggest weakness in the past, especially before we saw Loft 222, is that, all right, if a team's going to run with like tons of tanky heroes, you kind of lose the pick ability because most of the heroes are going to be shooting cannot be taken down in one shot. But the comps that you're likely to run a Hanzo against now, you're always going to have pick targets where one good arrow can turn the tide of the entire fight.
So Athena going to be on the defense first, running a Widow Pharah, so they kind of abuse all the sight lines and a lot of the verticality here that this first point does bring for Dorado, and even second. WGS, though, looking to roll out on a comp they've been playing a lot since they're playing on King's Row, and they continue to play, is that this Batiste Zin, or Batiste Flexible, sometimes they swap it out with Diana, and have the Hanzo made. They're looking for the picks, they're looking for the shield presence, and Athena should know this, and they need to just try to play off angles. They need to put Teru and Damon into positions where they succeed around Inokast's shield.
WGS moving on forward. Meanwhile, Teru in the back from Athena on the Pharah. It's going to be a matter of how much can Pharah poke them down as they stay here on the payload, and a lot of the poke can be coming in through the archway, but Teru hooked on down, just barely able to concussive blast himself out of harm's way.
Should be giving his life as well to try to keep Teru alive, and Teru is going to return it in kind, finding Dobroshi, now we're going to have the barrage as well. WGS getting stalled out here, and no mortality field to boot.
WGS looks at the objective again, another halt hook, and this time Pharah grounded in the moment. Damon off the sides here from Athena, gonna try and chip away, but the problem is you can chip away from the sides all you want. At some point, someone needs to touch the payload.
WGS are making the most out of what they just did there with that halt hook combo, removing Shubil so early, is that they're just continually finding value. Gableshi, Inokast, just finding pick after pick.
Damon down, WGS keeping up the pressure, and now they're gonna whole hog. That's one way to immediately get rid of a shield. The payload hits point B, and WGS saying, you know what, you got a speed run of our own.
Athena need to swap. They need to swap right now. The Pharah is still doable, but this Widow I don't think is going to work unless Damon's fight started finding a lot more value very quickly. Looks like they are going to swap Terra, though, onto the Hanzo, so at least this synergizes more. I think it would have been fine to keep the Pharah here, but considering now that they want to play the sight lines here, keeping Damon on the Widow and swapping Terra to the Hanzo is fine, because now they have the shield break, they have some of the tank burn that Hanzo provides, and they still have the pick potential with Widow.
The problem is that especially with the ultimates that WGS have built up, if they don't get pickoffs, oh, the counter pick! Agnes just threads it on in, takes down Damon, and honestly, I think it's time for Damon to swap. If for nothing else, it's just, this has not been a good look for Widow. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't, and this is in the don't category.
Ace will go down there as they trade that supercharge there on the flank. Name's gonna give his life to bring up half. And I think that's fine, except as I say that, Gableshi getting another pick. Gableshi, Inokast, just unstoppable so far. Because Athena are playing these two DPS heroes that don't really give a lot of value to the front line, the front line for Athena is being walked all over. The whole hook is completely uncontested.
WGS really looking for the map 5 is what we're seeing here. 3 minutes and 42 seconds left remaining, and I don't even know if there's going to be a good attempt here. I think Athena's going to try it, but is it going to be successful? It depends on the bomb. Shubil moving forward, and he can't even go for a sky bomb here because he's the only one that can stay on the cart.
Damon gonna go down there as well. The Blizzard invested, and the Ant Matrix just zoning the tanks, and Athena losing this recontest. And it's time to get off the double sniper, Athena. It's time, and that is exactly what they're doing. They're now getting off and putting Damon onto the Mei, but too little, too late. They've given up second. They're gonna have to fight now for last. They're putting Shubil onto the Reaper. Surely he won't be staying on the Reaper. Are they gonna try to play triple DPS?
I mean, I'm looking at this right now in disbelief. You've heard of Meta Sky Foxes. You've heard of Meta Athena. Well, right now, they're trying out a new approach. Meta Doormat. They're just getting walked on.
Now, actually, I was kind of questioning it. But as I say that, Gableshi finds the hook on a Teru who's peeking for the damage. They're down the Hanzo. They're down the Dragon. They need to wait for the respawn. WGS all this time is pushing the cart, setting up. They have the transfer the following fight.
This has been brutality. It just hasn't stopped. It's accelerated. It's gaining critical speed. Escape velocity even. Immortality field gonna keep WGS alive. Shubil moving over. And finally, Inokast gonna fall. Shubil falling the other side. Whole hog from Gableshi, who's so incredibly low. Finished on out. It's WGS still applying pressure. Ace just fearlessly walking forward. Now, respawns are going to be coming on in. I think WGS has to be careful here. Again, Ace, one pick off after the other, keeping it solid, keeping the dream alive. Name's going to fall, and WGS almost pushes through. 3 minutes and 33 seconds left on the clock. This would be so insanely fast for Dorado, and would practically guarantee a map 5.
Transfuse just going to keep those players alive. You see Half, he's made it back out. He's going to clean up quickly. It's Damon on the point. You see Inyok, he's also there with Name, but they have no more ults, they have no more stall. They're getting cleaned up slowly but surely. The wall in the way. Athena playing for full slaw. Now, Teru, he will kill Agnes, but it doesn't matter. That's it. It's finished.
It's one final wiping of the feet for WGS, and they're in.
That is full doormat achieved, 100% doormat. And I have to say, Athena really stubborn on their picks for second. Not swapping off that double sniper. It's one thing if you're finding consistent picks, but the fact that you aren't finding consistent picks and you're playing around the shield means that you just don't find what you need. You're just not getting what you need at all.
That was something, to put it mildly. But, all right. While I think there's a little bit of technical difficulty production-wise. But quick break here, guys. We'll be back in just a few moments. And we're back! A little bit of technical difficulties going on, but we are in, and Meta Athena trying to make up for lost time in the most literal sense. They're no longer doormats. Instead, they are the ones walking right back at WGS. And what has been a miracle overtime push here so far, keeping it going. Could they go the distance? A 6-point Toronto Dream. Well, Gableshee might have something else to say about that, but I don't think that's enough. They still have presence here at the point. Overtime spawn's going to delay WGS as Athena keeping up the pressure.
Athena keeping, they also don't have any ults though. Athena, they have no ults. They're down some players. They're waiting for Respawners to come back. They're trying to get that pick there on Agnes, but he will survive. WGS though, have no ults in their pick either. It's going to be a full weak test situation. You have to look to Teru. You have to look to Teru here to get this dragon, to get the pressure they need, and to set it up and get the split for Athena to maybe get those picks now that Shubil and David are back on Tracer and Reaper respectively.
Athena back up to full strength. The dragon. It's locked and loaded. It's ready to go. Gonna be going directly through the payload. Immortality field down. Teru got Oporochi and then some. And is this gonna happen? The grand comeback story of Athena here in map 4. They don't want to go to map 5. And in fact, I'm thinking on here, I think that actually, that's game. That should be the series because I don't think there's any possible scenario where they would be able to finish out here on Escort and with time remaining, which is what they would need in order to make this not a draw. The best possible scenario now for WGS would be a draw. Therefore, Athena, no matter what transpires here, they've won the series. It's going to be up to WGS attempting to say, yeah, but you didn't 3-1 us. It was a 2-1.
It is really a miracle push that just took place from Athena. They did not stop rolling the cart. They found the value there. Agnes just really going down a little bit late there. And with Teru's dragon, they get the split. They find Oporochi. It's just... overall, I think that's probably the most miraculous, one of the most miraculous OT pushes I've ever seen.
I mean, both teams kind of just taking turns on who's not going to have a good defense, is what it comes down to. Gates opening up here for WGS, and we'll see. As we talked about, they're playing for pride one way or another. The series may be over. Do they keep it at 2-1, or does Athena go to 3? We'll see if WGS can have a miracle push of their own.
See Teru just getting some poke here with the Pharah, trying to build up towards that barrage. WGS though, playing that Hanzo May they've been playing all series, gonna look to just break shield, maybe trying to get a alt hook, and that's exactly what they do, but Shubil's there! The Matrix gonna keep named alive.
This Mortality field up, Mortality field down, and Shubil able to deal with Ace and thread in the back. Not only important just for this fight, but also equalizing for Damon falling, giving time for Damon to be brought back up, and just delaying the time until they have to deal with Blizzard.
And the fact that Athena win this first fight means they're already closer to that win condition. They're close to the Nano Barrage up. Going to be available for them very soon. And really, they just want to try to force that Immortality from Oporochi, survive the Halt Hook, and then Nano Barrage time. It's out there. It's ready. There's no Matrix to deny Teru.
Teru hooked to the ground. Anti-air Roadhog. Grounding the Pharah. WGS up 1. Keeping it moving on forward. And remember, for WGS, this is pure pride at this point. Can they equal one grand attack with another? They certainly have momentum on their first attack. Another hook coming out here for Gableshee. Pulls in the Diva. Both sides fighting tooth and nail. WGS hanging on. Blizzard going to be invested to the other side, looking for Inhyok. But it's been a slow slog. Time continuing to get burned down. Only 2.5 minutes left. WGS still hanging out here, looking for the May pick on the other side. You're going to see Damon off on a ride, but not before dropping the Blizzard. WGS getting frozen out. Gableshee going to fall. And Athena reestablishing back here on the payload.
An absolutely huge Blizzard there from Damon. And it was really because Damon is able to keep them in the fight for some of these resins to get the cooldowns. And even with Teru going down while dropping the barrage, it's fine. Because Damon has the Blizzard ready. And when there's no Diva on the field to deny Damon those picks, once all those cooldowns for WGS have been used, they sort of use a lot of their ults just to get into the point, and almost all their cooldowns just to get in. In addition to that, the Blizzard is huge. It keeps them all in place, and they get those key pickoffs.
1 minute, 44 seconds remaining here for WGS. They're gonna drop the early supercharger in a spot where it's gonna be pretty difficult for any pressure to move onto it. Meanwhile, Athena though, they don't have to fight it straight up. They just back on out. They have plenty of room here in the courtyard. And Pharah grounded once more. No, it's actually Mercy. caught and picked. It's going to make life a lot harder here for Teru. And Mercy not about to res herself.
See, David has another Blizzard, though. He's going to invest it. And the Immortality Field has already been used. It's on both the tanks, but they cleaned it up. You see Inocast down. And Athena, they're still here. Half is alive, healing everybody. Agnes go for the flank, but Teru's found 3.
Well, Teru gets 3, but Agnes still looking for the flank, going, maybe I can do a little bit more. Looking for a reset. Oh, not actually the case. The Kree ends up falling. Kree flanks. Risky at best. Pretty dangerous in the Kree in most situations. Jubil moving on forward. Self-destruct still in reserve. Final minute here for WGS, and it is Escort. They can just win fight after fight as we go into overtime, but now they're starting to hit into territory where they can't lose.
No, they can't lose. The series is over. No matter what happens, the series is officially over as we've gone over it. Maybe WGS could get the draw, but no matter what happens, Athena have won, WGS have lost, and that also means that, signaling this, WGS did not get to win the series during this season against Contenders, just outclassed a lot. So unfortunate for them looking to rebuild going forward.
And that's the case no matter what. Even if they go on a crazy push here, which, by the way, I think he's just got slam dunked. Teru in over the top. Come back the other way. Rockets in here from Teru. Barrage locked and loaded. Ready to end the WGS season on a 3-1. Hooked on in. Drops the barrage response. Blows up the Roadhog for daring to attempt. WGS, though, hanging in there. Ace back on the payload as May. Ace has been the hero plenty of times here in this series. And he's still working on in. It's the go here, but they're so outgunned. A Mercy in the sky is a diva on the point. They don't have the ability to sustain. And that's going to be it. Athena finishes off the series 3-1. Kind of a crazy Dorado, though, that ended things out.
And despite what was it was a marathon. It really was a marathon, Dorado. We had some marathon issues on our end as well, but we came back right when it mattered. And with that, WGS not winning the map. And Athena just taking the series. They get that final win there for the season for them. It's so important. WGS having some problems. They definitely need to rebuild. Athena have to rebuild too, because both these squads were already out of the playoffs. But they did put up a valiant performance there at the end.
They definitely did. But that is our first series done and over with. And next up, give me a series a little bit more at stake. And a team with a lot of rich tradition here in Contenders Korea. Runaway coming up next.